Empowerment work in Africa. Will it help alleviate poverty and suffering? Education for development in Kenya. How Kenya is reforming its education system in order to be able to reach its goal of being a newly industrialized nation. Global child health and primary education. Why are children not able to access good primary education? And what can be done about it? Human rights and access to justice. Why human rights and access to justice is still a major problem in Nigeria. Welcome to this week's episode of The Matters Arising, and thank you very much for joining us. I'm your host, Wendy Oje. Stay tuned for the next 25 minutes as we inform you of the latest developments in Kenya and from around the world. You can join the conversation on our social media handles, Matters Arising on Facebook, at Matters Arising on Twitter, and Matters Arising _ on Instagram with the hashtag Matters Arising Now. Africa has been trying to make strides towards development for the longest time ever. It has also been able to make a significant recovery, but we cannot afford to slow down now. However, various strategies have been put in place that will help in boosting income and improving the lives of the African people through empowerment. Thank you for joining us, Madam Karen. Could you kindly introduce yourself?
My name is Karen Ondwasi. I'm the chair of the GMAC. GMAC is the Gender is My Agenda Youth Network in Africa. And I'm also the founder of Zero Stains Initiative. It's a community-based initiative that works to support young girls and women.
Wow.
Yes, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And wow, thank you for the good job that you're doing for the youth.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, on to the next question. How does your organization plan on moving Africa forward?
So now, for my introduction, I work with two organizations. Yeah, for the GMAC, we're a network in Africa in 55 countries, and across all these countries, we have youth working across 6 thematic areas, all which are meant to address poverty and to make Africa develop. Yeah, so we have governance, we have peace and security, we have health, we have what else? Economic empowerment, human rights. And I think health I've mentioned. So across thematic areas, we run a couple of projects. For instance, in peace and security, we work with youths across the continent in war-torn areas, just to do a lot of advocacy work to ensure that they are being part of the process of ensuring Africa is peaceful. And you know, when Africa is peaceful, we're able to develop. And in health, we are advocating for rights of women. In education, we want to ensure all youth, young women, girls are access education, both formal and informal, to enable them to earn a livelihood. And I feel like all those projects contribute to a developed Africa. It's a whole process, step by step, but at least by doing that, we're able to ensure that youth take their space and are part of the development processes. Now, when it comes to zero stains, I work with young girls in the community. So how does that help to develop? First of all, I'm a mentor, okay? So just by being there, just myself, not doing anything, just being a symbol of hope to them, they're able to know that, oh, this is a young woman who grew up in this community. She's progressing. So it's just a symbol of hope that one day they're also able to do better. Yeah, so that's it. And with a lot of work, which we can talk and talk, but that's it in a nutshell.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for the good job you're doing, especially now that the youth are the ones who occupy like the major part of Africa. It's really nice. Yeah, I appreciate the work you're doing. And what are some of the projects that you have done or plan on carrying out that can help us in achieving this goal? I feel like you've already mentioned part of it.
Yeah, we do a lot of advocacy work. So what advocacy it means we are the voice, okay? So we are giving, like, let's say we are talking about bad governance. Our role as youth is to talk about the governance processes, ensure that youths know how they can take part in things like elections, so that they know how to select better leaders. So we do a lot of advocacy work, just changing the current situation to enable African youth to know what is their role in contributing to development in Africa. For instance, something like education, we are doing advocacy so that our governments just don't focus on formal education. As we know, not all young people thrive in formal education, and also the issue of lack of employment. So what do? We ensure advocating for youth to have both formal, both informal, so that they have all the skills to survive. Yeah.
Okay. And do you think your plans are effective?
Yes, I would say that it's a whole process. We can't wake up in the morning and change everything at once. But we can say the first and most important thing is to make the first step, and that's what we've done. Is it effective? Yes. Will it take some time? Yeah, but we have first process is just to get started.
Yeah. Wow. And what are some of the challenges that you face while at it?
First and foremost, I would like to mention that this is the African Union Year of Culture and Heritage. So with that being said, I'm going to highlight the issue of culture. Culture is a both positive thing and a negative thing. So culture is one of the things that slows us back down when I choose to focus on the negative bit. For instance, most of youth in our communities, and I'll speak for young girls and women, maybe stay in a place where their culture says women cannot lead, women cannot be in decision tables. And so by doing that, we are slowing down the process, So I would say that cultural practices. We've seen the FGM, we've seen wife inheritance, we've seen early marriages. Those are things that slow us. I'm also going to highlight the issue of poverty. We know, especially right now with the COVID situation, so many youths don't have jobs. And so when you tell youth, stop being involved in criminal and start building the continent, and they don't have jobs. So it's something that really slows them down. I'm also going to the issue of, like, in relation to poverty, like internet. Right now, me and you are privileged to have internet. We're able to have such a conversation. But there's a young woman somewhere who can't do that. So resources, we really need to work on getting resources, and not just getting them, but also ensuring that they go to the rightful people and rightful projects. The challenges are so many, we can go on and on, but those are challenges.
Okay, thank you for that. And do you think that one day all these problems will finally end? Will they be solved? I have hope, though. Do you think it will ever end?
Yeah, I have hope. But they can't just end if we don't work together in terms of, can we work all departments in our continent, like learn to work together, so that we don't have, we are the older people who are making decisions, let the youth stay there, like work together, so that we ensure we're not leaving anybody behind. For instance, again, this issue of internet, right now, meetings are happening online, right? And we have a group of young women who are stuck in their villages, don't know nothing that's happening. For instance, last month I was part of a ministerial women. We had a lot of discussions. The young girls in the don't know anything. So we might be going and making progress. If we are leaving somebody behind, we'll still have to go back and collect them. So we have to work. Let's make sure we are not leaving anyone behind, so that by the time we are making one progress, they also make progress.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. We move together. And that will be the end of my interview. Thank you so much, Karen.
All right. So nice to you. And I also in the equality champion, and you're going to use this interview and your conversations to ensure that young women are also part of the decision-making processes,
Yes,
all
sure
right.
thing.
Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.
Okay, bye. You have a good one.
Kenya is planning on reforming its education system in order to be able to reach its goal of being an industrialized nation. The country has prioritized reforming its education system as key in achieving this goal. The government of Kenya is systematically removing the barriers to quality education, from raising teaching standards to providing greater access to textbooks and good education. Our correspondent tells us more on this. In order to ensure that education will be accessible to all, emphasis will be placed on reaching the most marginalized children, including the children living in refugee camps. In the case of COVID-19, funds will be provided in order to enable the training of many teachers and the expansion of online educational content so that children can still be able to have access to quality education they deserve no matter the circumstances. For matters arising, my name is Wendy Witty. Thank you very much, Madam, for joining us today. Yes, could you kindly tell us how Kenya as a country has dealt with the education system in order to achieve development?
There have been reforms in the education system where the country has moved from rote learning to competence-based curriculum, CBC, where learners are actively involved in teaching and learning. Creativity is encouraged and skills are brought out. This goes way far to bring about industrialization in the country. Then, number two, there has been establishment of STEM institutions. Yes, STEM institutions, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Now, these institutions actually nurtures technological skills based on engineering, science, and mathematics. And this one goes a long way towards industrial development. Then the country, through the science and engineering fairs held in secondary school levels, where young scientists have actually showcased their projects nationally and internationally. Now the projects of these young scientists are actually patented by various companies which fund the projects for further research, and this encourages development in terms of industries and in terms of coming up with new products that are enhanced by the skills that are put in place by the scientists.
And how do you deal with online learning during this pandemic?
Oh, the learning institutions, most of them, have come up with e-learning platforms. And these e-learning platforms are based on different levels of learning. As in, can have in secondary school level, for instance, there are WhatsApp groups for different forms, Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4. Now in these WhatsApp groups, that is where different activities are sent to students. Then there's also assigning of individual portals to individual learners, and this is for assessment and monitoring in learning for the different learners, at least at individual levels. Then thirdly, we organize Zoom meetings for general class learning, where the whole group now participates in the teaching and learning. Yeah.
And do you think that the online learning is effective? Could you give a reason for your answer? Why?
It's not at all effective. The reason being, one, there's limited access to internet, and also lack of the gadgets, laptops, and smartphones. Not every student has access to laptops, has access to smartphones. So now this becomes a limitation. It's only a particular group that will be learning, while others are not learning. Yeah. And secondly, it is expensive for some parents and guardians. Just very few can afford the gadgets, like I said, the laptops and the smartphones, and also to sustain the process, because you have to use money to access to buy data bundles and that kind of thing, and also they have to remain charged. And in most cases, in most areas of the country, we have issues with electricity. Yes, so not all learners will be learning during a particular time. Yeah. Then another thing that is making it difficult is because monitoring the learning process is almost impossible, because each learner is at their own region and they are doing their own things at that point in time. So it is actually difficult in monitoring. In terms of submission of assignment, you are not sure whether they did it alone or they copied, things like that. Then another reason why it is not effective is that there are some distractions during learning. And this happens due to lack of a common room set up, making it very difficult now for the instructor actually to monitor the learning process effectively. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, madam, for coming. Thank you. After the break, we get to look at why children are still not able to access good primary education and food, which is a basic human need. It is really sad to know that there are still children who lack food and are therefore not able to go to school because of malnutrition. Our correspondent with more on this.
The child mortality rate is increasing by the day. Child mortality refers to the death of children under the age of 5. Child mortality rate, on the other hand, refers to the probability of the death of the same age group. The latter is exceptionally high due to poor health conditions and inadequate nutrition. Reporting for Matters Arising, my name is Quentin Peter.
Thank you very much, madam, for joining us today. Karibu.
Thank you so much for that welcome note.
Yeah, and so we'll begin. For the first question, which are the factors that deter children from learning effectively?
In fact, we have a myriad of factors that stop children from having effective learning in schools. And I would highlight that first and foremost, poverty that is rampant in our society. We find that children who are coming from poor families, their families cannot afford proper, well-balanced meals. I would call it balanced diet. So you'd find that most of them would suffer from malnutrition. Of course, malnutrition is under two factors. It can either be undernutrition or overnutrition. The other thing is there is a lot of child labor in the country that can bring about ineffective learning. Because children will not go to school, instead they are going to look for small coins when they carry out some kind of activity. They are paid for that. So child labor deters proper learning. There's also gender-based problems that are mainly discriminate against maybe especially the female child in the African society. You find that the female child may be stopped from going to school, more so in poor families. You find that the female will be preferred to go to school, unlike the male one. And the male one will go, but the female one will not go. Where in cases where there's little funding in the school, in the family. The other one would be retrogressive cultural practices and beliefs. These would affect effective learning, because you'd find that instead of pursuing education, the cultural practices and beliefs within the society would affect proper, attendance of school.
Thank you very much for that. And what do you think can be done to help curb this whole situation?
When I refer to the aspect of poverty, I would say that to curb if poverty is curbed, issues like malnutrition will not occur, and therefore children may be able to attend school properly. And that means empowering the communities around. And once they are empowered, education would be possible. The aspect of child labor would also lead to children dropping out of school. So if the families were empowered, children would not see the need to go to carry out this child labor. They'll be able to attend school as their parents are able to take care of them. Issues like gender-based discrimination would not occur if families were empowered, and therefore all gender would be able to attend school effectively. These retrogressive cultural practices and beliefs, if curbed, can be curbed by putting in place effective policies that would deter retrogressive cultural practices, where even enforcement of whatever, people would be charged if they're found practicing some things that would stop children from attending school. Arrests, and after some public kind of sensitization, it would actually help strengthen effective school attendance.
Thank you very much for that. And do you ever think that one day we'll ever be free from this problem?
Yes, it would be possible with determination on the part of governments and all and sundry. It will be possible to achieve, but all must be determined to work very hard towards the same goal. Then all will be able to attend school, and global effective learning in all the learners will be achieved.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us, madam. Human rights and access to justice is still a very big problem in Nigeria. We'll be looking at some of the injustices that are happening in Nigeria. The human rights situation in Nigeria seems to be pretty bad. The problem is within the Nigerian justice system. Poverty and inequality are also major issues affecting Nigeria, with people lacking access to adequate housing to even lacking drinking water. In Nigeria, those who commit human rights violations rarely face prosecution. When the Nigerian government decides to put human rights at the top of its agenda, then the nationwide cycle of violence can be broken. The government of Nigeria must try and put the human rights and access to justice as their main priority. For matters arising, Wendy Uj.